Welcome to the Real Estate Syndication Show. Whether you are a seasoned investor or building a new real estate business, this is the show for you. Whitney Sewell talks to top experts in the business. Our goal is to help you master real estate syndication. And now your host, Whitney Sewell.
This is your daily real estate syndication show. I'm your host, Whitney Sewell. Today, our guest is Jason Wisniewski. Thanks for being on the show, Jason.
Hey, Whitney. Thanks for having me.
Jason owns JW Equity Partners, an organization specializing in commercial real estate sales, leasing, development, syndication, and private lending. In 2019, JW Equity Partners syndications raised over $15 million for projects in Florida and Texas. JW Equity Partners commercial sales and leasing services completed over $5.4 million in transactions. So, Jason, thank you again for your time and being on the show and with us today. Tell the listeners a little more about who you are, maybe where you're located, and what your focus is.
No, thanks for having me again, Whitney. I love syndication, real estate, networking with folks of your caliber. It's been an outstanding trip. So a little more about my background. I started in real estate about 5 years ago. Fairly new to the game still compared to some of the vets out there, but really enjoyed myself in the process. I was working full time as a business development coordinator at an ag electronics development company here in Fargo, North Dakota, and began building networks because I wanted to do more with my savings. So a lot of folks get into the stock market, for instance, and you find out that you have very little control over your investment. And that's what happened to me. I was working hard 50, 60 hours per week for my full-time job, and then I wanted to put those savings to work. And I've tried out the stock market. I learned that, I just had no control. The bond prices in Greece would plummet my portfolio all of a sudden out of the blue. So it got me interested in starting an organization of like-minded people in the community to see what they were doing. So I started this investment club, which essentially has become kind of an investment fund for its members. And through that, I met some guys that were doing real estate. And since then, it's been kind of a journey. We started out like a lot of folks, buying small rentals, single family rentals, small multis. We started a property management company, and just started to learn a lot about the business. In the last couple of years, I went out on my own and got into the sales and leasing and involved with some syndication.
So, Jason, why move into syndication as opposed to staying with the small single family or multifamily?
It's about the time commitment for me, Whitney. It was the whole reason I wanted to get into real estate in the first place was somebody told me about the passive returns, and I held on to that word passive and how great that sounded, because ultimately we only have 24 hours every day. And the amount that you can earn in that 24 hours is infinite. But if you're trading your time for money, if you're always trading your time for income, there's only a finite amount that you're ever going to earn. There's only so much freedom that you can earn to spend with your family and to see the world, to experience different things. So that was what it was really about for me, was how do I disconnect my time from my income? I tried the property management. I found that, dealing with the leasing, the bookkeeping, the tenants, wasn't my thing. I quickly burnt out because I was also working a 9 to 5 at the time. And then I realized that you also have a limited capital. So once I deployed my savings into my initial rental properties, I would have to sit on the sidelines until I built up enough income to invest again. Well, that's when I learned of the concept of using other people's money. And it really felt good to me, because not only did I want to learn about this business for my own savings. I wanted to share what I was learning with my family and my friends. And I thought, well, this is perfect. I can help them get into an investment, help them learn about real estate, and help them to create the same freedom that I want to create. So that's really what led me to syndication.
Nice. Well, tell me a little about your syndication business now and your focus in that business and what you see happening, over the next, year to 5 years.
Sure. So we are getting involved with more deals. We were involved with 3 last year, mostly in multifamily value add spaces. We work with different syndicators across the country.
You're breaking up just a little bit. I don't know if you just need to hold your mic or what, but go ahead.
Sure. Yep. We work with different organizations across the country to try and help bring capital to deals with multifamily value add, like I was saying, just where we can go in, get the asset at a discount, slight improvements, whether that
I can't hear you at all, or it's so low.
How about now? Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. I'll just try and hold it in front of my face a little better.
Okay, go right ahead.
So I don't know where I dropped off, but multifamily value add is what we've been working with. That's where my experience is. We're also getting into some development. We're working on a project for a 30-unit multifamily development that we hope to find some investors for. And it's been really rewarding, just a great time educating people on the benefits of real estate, the different tax benefits, how appreciation works, how you can leverage these assets.
Tell me about, how, getting, so I get questions every week from people and from a lot of listeners about getting started in this business or potentially through raising capital and partnering with another group and things like that, or asking to partner with us. I get that question often as well. And obviously we can't partner with everybody, it's a very select process, but tell me a little about how you advise somebody to get started in this business, working with that part of the business anyway, working with investors.
Yeah, and I couldn't have done it myself. I was out there talking to people, and I found people that were willing to partner with me, that had experience, had already made the first steps, and they were looking for help. And I went to them and offered time, something in value, time and a willingness to learn. And that's what really got me off the sidelines. So that's why I always advise folks that I talk to that want to get started, that haven't got off the sidelines yet. Find somebody that's doing it. They don't shoot for the stars and find the guy that owns the multi-billion-dollar REIT in your region. Go to that small guy that owns a couple of rentals next to the college. Those kind of guys, they really want to help. And then you can continue to build relationships and find your niche, I think, in this industry.
Mm. So did that team or that person, that you were offering your time to, did they become like a mentor?
Yeah, absolutely. And we still talk a lot today and work together on deals. Yeah, absolutely. They're lifelong friends.
Nice. And then tell me about just the progression then. You offer, which is, we talk about often on the show, and I tell people like, your time is something that is very valuable, that even if you don't know the business very well yet, you can offer your time, or you probably have some kind of expertise that you can offer to another operator, in an area that they need help in, and a lot of times if you're in a younger generation, I tell a lot of people this, like, you're probably really good at social media and software and all these things, right, that somebody that's been in this business, let's say 10 to 20 years, they're really good at this business. They're really good at this business, have all the connections. However, I bet their website stinks.
Right.
And they have no social media presence.
Absolutely. I'm working with some guys right now. I consider myself pretty tech savvy, but, I'm only 32 years old. But you look at some of the technologies that the early mid 20-year-olds are playing with, and it's different already. It's things have changed so fast, and we can't all just keep up with everything. So we're working on forming an organization where they're going to help me generate leads for my brokerage and sales business. So yeah, there's so many opportunities where you can add either time, their knowledge, or money. Kind of the triage. Those are the three resources that everybody has or needs.
What are some ways that you're working to grow your business as far as working with investors?
Doing a lot of generating awareness yet. A lot of folks in our network haven't been exposed to syndication. They are kind of leery of it.
They haven't what?
They haven't been exposed to syndication yet. A lot of folks in our region, our network. So it's a lot of education right now. Some folks have done some real estate. A lot of our network has done real estate investing, but they don't understand the structure of some of the syndications that are being presented to them today. So it's a lot of education from that standpoint. How a preferred return works, and how the equity splits are going to change depending on the performance of the property, when they can expect their payments, and just that kind of education. Sometimes you have to go all the way down to the basics. Like what happens if the building burns down? How does that get covered?
Okay, so here's the simple truth. If you don't have private investors waiting on the sidelines right now, you're going to have a hard time closing your next syndication. Are you afraid to talk to investors? Do you feel you have a lack of credibility, or no one will take you seriously? Or what about your systems? Do you have anything set up yet? Well, if you know you can improve on getting in front of and influencing passive investors, then you should call my friend Adam Adams. Adam has a proven system for you to flip the script. Now, this is a 5-figure investment for you to take your business to the next level. I want to see you succeed, so I placed a link in the show notes for you to apply to work with the Adam Adams. And if you think you qualify and you know you're going to take action on what he teaches you, then scroll down, find the link, and take your money-raising abilities to the next level. Yeah, it's important. And I think it's important. So I was talking to this investor one time, and he talked about how, and actually he has a very large single family portfolio. I mean, he's done very well, with single family and small multis. However, he wanted to start investing in syndications, and he didn't understand the syndication side of the business. He understands real estate and understands the benefits very well, obviously, but he also wanted to teach his I think his son was 12 years old. He wanted him to learn the syndication business as well. So he started calling operators, and he started asking them, myself and my 12-year-old's on the line, and I want you to explain and answer these questions.
He wants you to explain
that so he can, so my son can understand. And I got to thinking about that, and I thought, well, can I do that? And it helped me to think through that. Well, can I explain these things that people ask in a manner that somebody that has no experience in real estate can understand, and really very little financial background, or understanding.
Yeah, it's incredible. You'll come across all flavors. The folks that seem like they should know it all already, but have actually never been exposed to this model of group investing. They've just they came into the wealth some other means, and they've been doing it all on their own. Now they would like to be a little more passive. That's a really great opportunity for syndicators.
Is there anything that, as you're exposing these investors to syndication for the first time, that really stands out that, like, okay, I have to make sure that I understand how to explain this, before I go talk to these investors, because I know they're going to ask?
Yeah, and I'm learning a lot about that right now with this new development project we're working on, because the cash returns aren't as exciting as a value add multifamily, where a building is 30, 40 years old, and you're just going in and you're rehabbing the units. The returns can be tremendous if you can crank the rents up $100 per unit on a 200 unit property like that. But when you go and you build a brand new property, the operating expenses tend to look a lot different, and you start working with tax incentives from municipalities And that has a very big effect on the bottom line. So there's all these different variables in new construction that I'm working out on learning, and things that I know I'm going to have to address when I present the opportunity. So you have to, I think, get a good idea of the first 1 or 2 years of cash flow. Whether it is a multifamily value add or new development, people want to know, when's that first paycheck coming? When am I expected to write the check? And am I liable for any future capital calls? Those are the things I try to do.
So what's been the hardest part of this syndication journey for you, Jason?
I think it's the building trust, credibility, being seen as someone that investors can turn to for knowledge. I think that's the biggest hurdle everybody has to get over, is presenting yourself and the knowledge and your experience appropriately.
Is there a way that's helped you, that something you've done that's helped you to overcome that?
Yeah, I follow a lot of podcasts, and like yours, Whitney, and some of the others out there. And I really like what you're doing, and it helps me believe and know and trust in your knowledge. So that's the approach I've taken. I've started a blog. I've started doing a YouTube channel, social media, just letting people know that I'm in this space has been huge. So now when I'm out and about and I see people, or I go to family gatherings, they ask me about these things. I have an opportunity to unravel that knowledge in more detail. So it's really about presenting yourself. And I'm a pretty shy guy. I'm pretty humble most of the time too. So it's been a big leap for me to get over. But what you find is people love that knowledge. They're looking for this knowledge, and you have something valuable to share. So that's what I would encourage people. Let people know what you know.
How are you preparing or prepared for this potential downturn that everyone's talking about?
I'm right now being conservative. I've been in the business for the last 5 years, and this impending downturn has been coming every year for those 5 years. But I'm very cognizant of 2008, 2009, because that was when I entered the job market. I know the stress on people. And I think there's a lot of young people out there that never weren't in the workforce and didn't see that. So they don't quite know how quickly things can change and how tough it can make things. But so I'm just staying conservative, working with people who are underwriting conservatively. Deal flow has slowed down for syndications because I think there's less opportunity out there now. But I think that's going to turn, because owners are going to have to make decisions, if they're going to make that big capital expense, or if they're going to sell this asset. It's going to create opportunities. So the opportunities will be there, but I'm just sticking to the conservative.
So what's a way you've recently improved your business that we could apply to ours?
Great question. Let's see. I recently put a lot more effort into our website, and just working with other people to outsource some of our regular activities, a lot more marketing.
So you're outsourcing a lot of your marketing and stuff. It's still hard for me to hear you a little bit.
Yeah. So we're working on outsourcing different marketing activities. A lot of that's come from me tracking my time, looking back at that and saying, how much time am I spending on these lower value items? And so that's where it kind of stems from. Track your time.
Is there a good way you track your time?
Yeah, I found an app called Toggle, T-O-G-G-L. Put it as an extension on your browser, and quickly it will track whatever you're doing.
So what would you say is the number one thing that's contributed to your success?
Persistence. So everybody's going to encounter a lot of downturns. A lot of things are going to not go your way. But I always think of the analogy where the guy, and I think this is based on a true life story, where a family was digging a gold vein, and they ran out, and they tried for a little bit to pick it up again, and they gave up. They sold the land for pennies on the dollar, and the company came in and they found the gold vein within 5 feet of where the original owner had stopped. So it's just that last 5 feet that we need to go. And I think it's take another foot, go another foot. Every time I want to quit and try something new. It's persistence and sticking with it. Dogged determination.
So how do you like to give back?
So I've recently, over the last year or so, gotten involved with organizations that are fast tracking new treatments for anxiety, depression, PTSD, and addictions. I'm a big proponent of the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, which is fast tracking testing of new treatments, which have been showing just incredible results. So what I'm doing now, tomorrow I'll be going out to the state conference for suicide prevention. It's just become such an epidemic. The opioid crisis, the PTSD in our veterans, it's all coming to a head. And I feel like there's a lot more resources out there that people are aware of right now. So it's supporting these organizations.
Wow. Well, thank you for giving back in that way, Jason. I appreciate you giving today and your time and to us. And tell the listeners how they can get in touch with you and learn more about you.
Thank you, Whitney, for having me again and for everything you're doing with adoption. It's super important. People can find me at my website, jwequitypartners.com.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Syndication Show, brought to you by LifeBridge Capital. LifeBridge Capital works with investors nationwide to invest in real estate, while also donating 50% of its profits to assist parents who are committing to adoption. LifeBridge Capital, making a difference, one investor and one child at a time. Connect online at www.lifebridgecapital.com for free material and videos to further your success.